الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نعمده ونصلي على رسول الكريم أما بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله علي الذات عظيم الصفات سميع السماء كميل الشان جليل القدر رفيع الذكر مطاع الأمر جليل البرخان فهيم الاسم عزيز العليم وسيع الخليم كثير الغفران جليل الثناء جزيل العطاء مجيب الدعاء أميم الإحسان سريع الحساب شديد العقاب عليم الذاب عظيم السلطان ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. Brothers and sisters, thank you very much for this opportunity. I'm really honestly humbled by this opportunity to be in front of all of you brothers and sisters here. The topic that I was going to debrief about is is there an Islamic duty to protect one's health and that of others? We all know that in the past 2 years we have experienced a pandemic of enormous scale. We read in the books, we know from previous history, something that had been occurring for thousands of years. Humans, since they've been on the planet Earth, have always encountered pandemics. This is not new, but yet we have never experienced it. There probably isn't a single soul that has not experienced fear, has not experienced anxiety, and a sense of lack of control. And I can say for sure, it's been a time when all of us have remembered Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ask for His mercy, ask for His blessings. I think when we think about what has happened in proportionate scales here, we definitely going forward are going to have stories to tell for our future generations. But there are also some lessons that we want to say, we want to learn and make sure that we are part or contribute in a good, positive way going forward. I want to say this as a Muslim and as a physician, that we Muslims have always in the past contributed in healing, in standing by our communities when times are tough, and have contributed enormously in the past in medicine and in other fields when our community has been under pressure. This is not an exception. This is also one other example of how we have done well and how we can do more. Brothers and sisters, we know from Surah Al-Baqarah 155 that we will be tested. Whether it's going to be fear, whether it's going to be hunger, whether it's going to be loss of property, lives, fruits, but there is glad tidings for us. For those during times of tribulations have been very patient. Brothers and sisters, we know from Al-Quran that saving one life is like you have saved you've saved mankind. So is there a moral or Islamic obligation for us to continue doing the good work, to help not only ourselves, protect not only ourselves, but to protect others? Because one can easily argue, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to protect myself. My primary responsibility is protecting myself and then preserving and protecting the ones that are near to me. The core Islamic principle is protecting and preserving. But let's not forget Al-Bukhari, Prophet Muhammad saying, if one part of a body aches, we should feel pain all over the body and different parts. I know you all, brothers and sisters, have a lot of stories to tell of the pandemic and how it's affected a lot of people, whether there has been the loss of loved ones and whether it has been financial loss or other loss. But we still have some duties and obligations as we go forward and have to fulfill. I can share a few stories with you. I remember the time when, very early in the pandemic, I wore a mask and I went into one of my friend's office where, mashallah, there were about 20, 30 people. And I put my mask on and they all start laughing at me. And when I tried to explain to them that there is some virus that may be coming to US, they all laughed it off. So we were definitely not prepared at that time. Fast forward a couple of months, I remember my 10-year-old daughter, when she came out, 1 or 2 in the morning, and was crying when I was going to leave and go to my work. And she's doing Ayatul Kursi and praying, may Allah subhanahu bring my father back safely home. I can tell you, brothers and sisters, I've experienced something that I thought I would never experience. I hear when I was at work that parents abandoning their children. Let me correct, not actually totally abandoning or not a disowning, but did not want to go near their parents because they were in the hospital. The fear was so heightened that Children didn't want to know they didn't want to go to the hospital. They didn't want to know how to interact with their parents, husbands and wives, mothers and daughters, or other children. There was only a little barrier that was communicating between the two, whether it was an iPad or a phone, or even at times just a window where they could see each other. Did I not think at that time that when the day of judgment, when my prophet tells me that mother is not going to recognize her children, parents are not going to be caring about their children, and vice versa. I always thought, how is that possible? How can that happen? That we disown our loved ones. But experiencing this pandemic has shown me, oh boy, yes, it can happen for sure. And yes, we better be ready for what is coming in the hereafter life. Brothers and sisters, I remember I being in the intensive care, generally a place hustling and bustling. 12 bed would have 12 nurses standing next to the patients, have 2-3 doctors, providers, other nurse practitioners, ancillary staff. But at the time of the pandemic, in the whole ICU, there would be 1 or 2 nurses. The fear being so strong that only few people would be ready to look after the loved ones that we had in the ICU. Surely you can imagine this being a very spooky place. This is not the normal life. This has not been the normal routine that we had encountered there. We know we've all lost relatives. We lost friends. I've lost physician friends, some nurses. Are they all going to have shahada? They're all dying in preventing and curing diseases to other people. Brothers and sisters, there was a time that the ICU and a lot of places around where we are in the hospitals that we had so many dead bodies that not only the ICU or the hospital morgue is full, the downtown Arlington and the Mesquite morgues would not accept any bodies. We would put those bodies on a truck outside the hospital. No soul came near those bodies in fear. No one wanted to know. Families didn't want to come. Loved ones were trying to protect other loved ones. But the ones who suffered and passed away died a very lonely death. I can share a story at that time, right in the middle and the peak of fear, that there was a Muslim Imam in New York who said that all the bodies in the New York of Muslims, I am not gonna allow them to be cremated. Remember, when there was fear, when there was anxiety, we were ready to push all of them to the next life without the proper burial. This brave Muslim Imam, along with one person who dug the graves, maybe not the ideal grave, maybe not the perfect grave, but gave them a Muslim proper janazah with dua. I felt very proud. I felt that we Muslims can definitely do little, if not big. This may to you seem a little gesture, but look at the courage, look at the bravery, look at what he was ready to sacrifice. For what? To give a burial to people who he didn't even know. Brothers and sisters, I'm proud today, standing and looking at all of you brothers and sisters wearing a mask, knowing that we have a little responsibility, protecting not only ourselves, but more importantly, wearing a mask and protecting others. It seems at times uncomfortable. It's awkward. But know that these little steps become bigger and contribute to a bigger cause. Because how would I feel? How would you feel if one of your brothers, who you don't know what sort of medical problem he has underlying, ends up in the hospital? You may be all right, but he or she may have to suffer more and go through a lot of agony, a lot of discomfort, and a lot of pain. Brothers and sisters, Abu Sayyid al-Hidri quoted from Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, do not cause harm. Do not cause harm. We are not talking about the harm that is going to be sustained from your hands, from your actions, or from your tongue. Because if you do harm, remember, Allah, you will be accountable and will harm you. And if you are harsh to others, Allah will be harsh back to you. Isn't it important that we say it's best to forgive? Isn't that the best? Of course. Brothers and sisters, I want to share and tell you, be proud of your heritage. Don't forget our rich heritage, starting from the prophetic medicine. All of the time in this culture, we've richly contributed. We've been great Muslim scientists, whether it be Abu Sina or others. We've been great surgeons. We've been great inventors. But greatness is also when we do these little acts. Remember to reinforce, educate, and remind other peoples. I want to, in the end, thank Brother Abdul Jami and the administrators of the Masjid, including Brother Mustafa and others, for giving an opportunity. I want to also loud out and say thank you for all of you, and thank you for all those organizations that have been helping us. There are organizations like American Muslim Today, mashallah, who have gone out and tried to reach to the community and taught them. Please spread the good word, brothers and sisters. You could also do little acts. whether you become a part of the publication, whether you become a part of the Facebook and you try to do little acts on social media with your friends and your neighbors, whether you become a part of the emailing list or you become a part of other aspects of it. I want to thank you all for giving a little opportunity for me to represent Sister Rifat's team, Sister Farida, and the other members of the American Muslim today. Please, brothers and sisters, be safe. Wear your mask when it's needed and vaccinate yourselves and encourage others to do so. Thank you, Jazakallah khair. I'll be here after the khutbah. If any brothers has or sister has, a matter of fact, any questions, I'll be here humbly to answer the questions. Jazakallah khair. Thank you. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم صل على محمد عبدك ورسولك وصل على المؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات وبارك على محمد وأزواجه وذريته قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أرحم أمتي بأمتي أبو بكر وأشهدهم في أمر الله عمر وأصدقهم حي عثمان وأقداهم علي وفاطمة سيدة النساء أهل الجنة والحسن والحسين سيد شباب أهل الجنة وحمزة أسد الله وأسد رسول اللهم اغفر لي عباس رولي مغفرة ظاهرة وباطنة لا تعود الذنب الله في أصحابي لا تتاخذهم أرض من بعدي فمن أحبهم في بحبي أحب ومن أبعدهم فبأدي بعبدهم وخير أمتي كني ثم الذين يلونهم ثم الذين يلونهم وسلطان دل الله في الأرض من أحنان سلطان الله في الأرض أحنان الله إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وابتغاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء وعن المنكر والبغي بعدكم لعلكم تذكرون فاذكروني أذكروني واشكروا لي ولا تكفرون. نماز الجمعة.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر